right there.
So, Sophia, lovely to see you again.
You too, Libby.
Hmm. Are you cozy there? You've chosen the sofa for.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the tea. It's
Yeah,
it's really delicious. It's very soothing. Thank you.
beautiful, beautiful. And I saw you pulled the tissues towards you, so if you need them, you've got them. Hey?
Well, after last week's session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Well, look, I just wanted to say again, how brave I think you are getting out of the house, getting here, and just trusting the process.
Mm,
Yeah. So I think so last week we covered a few things, didn't we? There was
mm,
the intro to the power meaning threat framework, and thanks for sharing some of your input on that. And then we did the bear story.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess first of all, I'd just like to know what's happening for you at the moment.
Um, I'm still feeling all the same things as we talked about last week. It was really hard to get here again. I'm really, avoiding spaces and avoiding getting out. So, yeah, thanks for acknowledging that. It was actually pretty hard for me to get here.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, good on you.
Mm.
If there's anything in how we've got the room set up, just let me know. Are the curtains okay? You can see out to the garden a little bit.
Yeah.
That
No, it's all good. Thank you very much. Yeah.
okay. So yeah, I was kind of thinking the bear story, we talked about the automatic process that we have when we're under threat. Yeah,
Yeah.
that story. And how the bear's scary, and we're hardwired to just, to run from that. So I just wondered if you'd had any sort of thoughts or feelings around hearing that last week, considering you were feeling, I think you said really guilty that you didn't
Mm.
stay and take this aggressor, this violent person on.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It was quite helpful because as I talked about, I did nothing. I just ran, and I feel guilt and shame. I feel like I'm not a good human for doing that. Like I didn't help another human. And yeah, so it was quite helpful to understand it from that sort of perspective, that
Mm,
it was sort of like have a lot of control over it.
mm. Well, I mean,
Mm,
I think most research says you have zero control over it. Different circumstances, you might have gone into fight or freeze. But under the situation that you've described, it's completely understandable that you would want to run
mm,
from such a violent person who could have, seriously hurt you, as you'd just seen him do to the poor victim or survivor.
mm.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, it does help. It's still I suppose it still feels like I shouldn't that I shouldn't really be having all my responses though because I didn't do anything. It's like,
mm,
but I'm still not sleeping well, and
mm,
I just want to,
mm,
yeah, I don't want to go out. I don't know.
mm.
It's still pretty hard to deal with.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing all of that. And I just want to reassure you that, many, many people have been through awful experiences like this. I've worked with many people, and I've seen them make significant progress when they learn to regulate their nervous system and, get out of that tense, muscled, ready to fight or flight mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
The nervous system is something we're going to be working on a little bit today with a beautiful new technique, which we tried last week. And then we just want to embed the practice with you. So let's have a look at the anchoring technique again. So
Mhm.
if you're
Okay.
okay to just get comfortable,
Yep.
and we'll just, yeah, if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, then please do. If not, just rest them gently, looking down. Yeah. And so the first step is to acknowledge the thoughts and feelings, any feeling at all, any thought at all. And you can name them. if that's easy.
Do you want me to do that out loud or am I doing it in my head?
Well, it's up to you if you want to share them. Otherwise, just in your head's fine. Hmm. And next is to connect, connecting with your body, feeling your feet on the ground, feeling your hands resting wherever they are. Hmm. Feeling any part of your body. And then the next step is to engage, to use your senses, to smell whatever's in the room, to feel any breeze on your skin, any sensations in your body. And then slowly starting to connect with what's outside of you further. Perhaps opening your eyes at this point, being in the room together. And if you were choosing to do that in the car, obviously you wouldn't close your eyes. If you were doing it at work, you could just do it quietly. It's very flexible. It comes from many, well, hundreds I've heard of different practices from Eastern and Western spaces, traditions being combined into something as simple as ACE.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's
how
very
was that?
calm,
Yeah, that was calming for you today. Mm,
very calm.
yeah.
Mm.
And did you get any chances to practice it since last session, last week?
I did, but it's definitely easier when you're guiding me. So I really appreciate doing it again. And I think each time we do this together, it will probably help me do it outside because I've never done anything like this before.
Yeah,
So I think that doing it with you has a much more calming effect. So that would be a really great, valuable tool for me to have outside.
yeah, for sure. Well, I'd be
Mm.
really happy to share one of the recordings I've used before and
Mm.
yeah,
Thank you.
possibly even my own voice, but I'll just look into what's best for you and email that to you.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So well done. You're showing up. You've come, you're engaging so wholeheartedly with the practices. And yeah, I just feel, your strength, your courage in coming forward and being,
Mm.
yeah. I'm also hearing that you're up for learning things. You've been really receptive to my offers and yeah, it was, yeah, I really see you in this space, kind of really embracing what's on offer. Mm.
Well, it was very helpful getting that, what do you call it? The power, that one, that model that you sent.
Meaning framework. Yeah. Yeah.
I really enjoyed reading that and
Hmm.
um, trying to answer some of the things and
Oh,
it
okay.
making sense.
Yeah. Beautiful. So can you
Yeah.
the sort of the link between, the person who had power over you and
Mm,
and threatened you and how
mm.
that kind of led to the natural response to fly away, to get away? That was your survival mechanism.
Yeah. 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 It sort of like yeah, it was just an instinct and I didn't do anything and I ran and um but I think also it's just yeah made me at the time like when I reflect it makes me think that the world isn't a safe place to be in and even understanding that from you last week it's made me sort of understand why I don't want to go out so I think it's just sort of clarified a few things.
Mm. Mm. And sometimes, a traumatic event like this can really shake someone up, and a lot of different feelings come in. Usually they're pretty negative. They feel quite scary and painful, the anxiety and the insomnia. not easy
Mm,
things to live with. Yeah. But
no.
yeah, I think what's beautiful is that you kind of come to see that all of that can be a learning, and you might find some things change. That there's a thing called post-traumatic growth, which we can talk about another time. But it's not necessarily all bad. It's like an adaptation potentially.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. I think what we raised last week about, the effect it's having, on my relationships and my work and just that whole disconnection. And that's something I'm still really struggling with.
Hmm.
Um,
For sure.
like the effects of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Um,
that's completely
mm,
normal, Sophia.
mm,
It was only what, how many weeks ago now? I think it was 3 weeks.
yeah. Yeah.
And you've gotten in for support so soon after. This is a very acute phase where we really just want to, make sure you're feeling safe in the space with me. If anything comes up at all that's concerning, I'm really open to hearing feedback. All your feelings are welcome, your anger, your sadness, your joy, whatever comes up. It's hard to imagine joy possibly coming up at this point, but I hope that you can feel some hope in what we're doing together and realize it takes time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it definitely helps talking about it in here because, I don't talk about it out there because I still feel guilty. So I don't feel like I sort of should have these feelings. So
Mm,
it definitely helps to have somewhere to talk about it.
mm, mm. Yeah, well, that makes perfect sense. And, just to say again, all these feelings, all these responses are entirely normal, entirely understandable. It's no failing on your behalf, no weakness to have normal human responses under threat.
Yeah,
And I
cool.
think
Thank you.
your workplace, I mean, we might unpack the power threat meaning framework a bit more over time, but you not wanting to go to work might be information for you. It might be that you're not feeling safe there. And so again, you're putting yourself where it's best for you to be to recover and learn.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Mm,
I mean, unfortunately, the world is not always a safe place, particularly for women, unfortunately. We've got
mm,
twice the chance of experiencing trauma. And 75% of Australians apparently have experienced trauma of some kind. So when you feel like you're alone, most likely someone in the room with you has also had something traumatic happen.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know what? That's a good thought, and it's also a really sad thought
I hear.
because I know how bad I feel, and I know how scared I feel, and I know how this has really, yeah, shaken me. So
Mhm.
you know, to think that collectively that's out there, it's hard. But I really appreciate being able to just sit here and have this sort of calm space around it all.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I'm glad that you feel that way. Yeah, and look, yeah, it's terrible to think, but that there is so much, suffering in the world. But fortunately, we're learning more all the time too. There's new research coming through all the time, new practices. A lot of people get a lot of benefit from yin yoga to regulate their nervous system as well.
Mm,
We'll just take it bit by bit. Things take the time that they take.
yeah,
Yeah, I just think it's great that you're showing up.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the next part of the session, I can give you some choices if you like. We could do another practice of the anchoring technique, or we could talk about the power threat meaning framework a bit more. What's your
Okay.
feeling? What's your gut telling you about where to go next?
I
And
think I probably still need a bit of the calming. So I think for next time, yeah, even if we could start with that and then see how we go from there.
beautiful. Well, look, next then in this session, we'll do the ACE practice again,
Okay,
and I'll get back to you with the email on that. And yeah, we'll just take it from there.
great. Thank you so much, Libby.
We're not ending the session. This is just the 15 minutes. Yeah, and we're done. It's all good.